You've finally done it. After years of searching, you've signed the papers on a beautiful, remote piece of land. 10 acres of freedom. You can already picture your container home sitting on that ridge, overlooking the valley. No neighbors, no noise. Just the self-sufficient life you've worked your entire life to build. You put down your life savings, and the land is finally yours. Then you make the first phone call to the county planning department or to an excavation contractor. And that's when the dream dies. The voice on the other end of the line calmly informs you that your land has no legal deeded access for construction vehicles, or that it's on a protected watershed where you can't get a septic permit, or that the local zoning ordinances have a minimum square footage requirement that your container home will never meet. Suddenly, your 10 acres of freedom aren't an asset, they're a prison. A piece of property you're legally tied to that you have to pay taxes on, but that you can never build on. You try to sell it, but you're now legally obligated to disclose the very problems you discovered. No one will buy it. This is the land prison. It's the catastrophic and shockingly common outcome of falling in love with a view and forgetting that you're not just buying land, you're buying a construction site. And it all stems from 3 fatal mistakes made long before a single container is ever delivered. The first and most brutal mistake is assuming that because you can get to your land in a pickup truck, you can build a house on it. This is the access trap, and it has 2 dimensions, the physical and the legal. First, the physical. A 40-foot shipping container arrives on a tractor-trailer that is over 60 feet long and weighs up to 80,000 pounds. That vehicle cannot make a sharp 90-degree turn from a narrow country lane onto a dirt track. It cannot navigate a steep, winding driveway without the trailer's landing gear digging into the ground. And it will instantly sink in soft, muddy soil. Even before the container arrives, the concrete truck for your foundation faces the exact same challenges. The amateur drives out in their 4x4, looks at the dirt path leading to their dream spot, and thinks, no problem. The professional thinks like a truck driver. They measure the turning radiuses. They check the weight limits on any small bridges. They analyze the grade of the slope. They understand that without a clear, solid, and wide enough path from a public road to the foundation site, the project is dead on arrival. But the physical trap is the easy one. The legal trap is far more dangerous. That quiet dirt road you use to access the property. You assume it's a public right-of-way. Very often, it is not. It's a private track crossing someone else's land. That friendly handshake agreement you have with the current owner is worthless the day they sell their property. If the right-of-way is not a permanent, legally recorded easement written into your deed, you are a landlocked prisoner. You have no legal right to bring a single piece of construction equipment onto your land. You are completely at the mercy of your neighbor's goodwill, or their price. This single oversight doesn't just halt your project, it makes your land fundamentally worthless.
The second fatal mistake is born from a powerful illusion, the belief that remote land is a blank slate, free from oversight. The amateur thinks, if there are no neighbors to complain, who's going to stop me? The answer is a powerful, invisible bureaucracy that can kill your project with the stroke of a pen. This is the permission trap. Every square inch of land in the country, no matter how remote, falls under a jurisdiction, usually a county or a township. And that jurisdiction has a rule book, known as its zoning ordinance. You don't get to ignore it. This rule book dictates everything. First, it dictates use. It will tell you if you're even allowed to build a residence on your agriculturally zoned land. Second, it dictates placement. It defines setbacks, telling you the minimum distance you must be from your property lines, from any creeks, or from the road, dramatically shrinking your buildable area. But here is the most common container home killer. Many rural counties have minimum square footage requirements. They were written to prevent the construction of tiny, dilapidated shacks, but the unintended consequence is that your 320 square foot container home is illegal from the start in a zone that requires a 1,000 square foot minimum dwelling. Even if you clear the zoning hurdles, you still face the building department. They enforce the building code, which was written for wood frame houses, not welded steel boxes. They will often require a state-licensed structural engineer to sign off on your plans, proving that your modifications and foundation meet local safety standards for things like snow load and wind shear. Finally, and most critically for off-grid living, is the health department. They control the permit for your septic system. If your land fails a percolation test, meaning the soil isn't suitable for drainage, you will not get a septic permit. No septic permit means no building permit, period. The dream is dead. Ignoring this invisible web of rules is a gamble you cannot win. The county has the legal authority to red tag your project, fine you daily, and ultimately force you to tear it all down at your own expense.
The third and final trap isn't found in a rule book or on a map. It's right under your feet. The amateur falls in love with a view. The professional falls in love with stable, well-draining ground. This is the ground trap, buying land that is fundamentally hostile to construction. First, you have to consider the unseen geology. The amateur sees a flat, clear spot and thinks, perfect for the foundation. The professional asks, what is that flat spot made of? Is it solid bedrock that will cost you $10,000 in blasting and excavation before you can even pour a pier? Or, far worse, is it expansive clay soil or organic rich soil? This type of ground acts like a sponge. It swells when it's wet and shrinks dramatically when it dries. Placing a foundation on it is like building a house on a slowly moving raft. The constant shifting will crack your piers, twist your container, and destroy your investment. Second, and this is the absolute heart of the off-grid dream, is water. You must solve two critical water problems. Where does it come from, and where does it go? For where it comes from, you need a well. The amateur assumes you can drill anywhere and find water. This is a catastrophic gamble. A professional well driller might have to go down 300, 500, even 800 feet. That's tens of thousands of dollars with absolutely no guarantee of success. If you drill and hit nothing, your land is an uninhabitable desert. You own a campsite, not a homestead. For where it goes, you must analyze the hydrology. Look at the topography. Is your perfect build site located at the bottom of a gentle slope? You're not building in a meadow, you're building in a seasonal swamp. You are creating a moat of mud around your foundation, guaranteeing a permanent battle with rust and moisture. This is the same reason a septic system fails a perk test. The ground is already too saturated with water to absorb anything else. Falling for a pretty view while ignoring the ground beneath it is like buying a beautiful car with a cracked engine block. The surface looks great, but the foundation is fatally flawed. This brings us to the number one rule, the single most important action that separates a successful off-grid build from a financial catastrophe. You must complete a professional-level pre-purchase investigation before you are legally bound to the land. An amateur buys with their heart. A professional buys with a checklist. The most powerful tool you have is not a bulldozer. It's a contingency clause in your purchase offer. This clause should state that the final sale is contingent on a feasibility study or due diligence period of 30 to 60 days. This is your legal escape hatch. It gives you the time to find the deal breakers without risking your life savings. Here is the professional's checklist to bulletproof your purchase during that period. First, you solve the access trap. Legal. Go to the county recorder's office and pull the official plat maps and deeds. Physically trace the unbroken, legally recorded easement from a public county-maintained road all the way to your property line. No easement, no deal. Physical. Pay a local excavation contractor or a towing company for 1 hour of their time. Give them the address and ask them, can you get a 60-foot tractor trailer to this spot? They will see the tight turns, the low-hanging branches, and the soft ground that you will miss. Second, you solve the permission trap. You make 3 phone calls to the county. Have the parcel number ready. Call number 1, the Planning and Zoning Department. Ask them directly, what is the zoning? Are there minimum square footage requirements? What are the setbacks? Call number 2, the Building Department. Ask, what are your specific submission requirements for a shipping container home? Will I need plans stamped by a state-licensed engineer? Call number 3, the Health Department. Ask, what is the process and cost for a septic suitability test, also known as a perk test? Third, you solve the ground trap. Water source. Your purchase offer must be contingent on drilling a well that produces a minimum flow rate, for example, 5 gallons per minute. This is non-negotiable. No water, no deal. Soil and drainage. Use the free USDA web soil online to look up the soil types on the property. It will warn you of major issues like expansive clay. Finally, visit the land during the heaviest rain of the year. This will show you exactly where the water flows and pools. It will reveal the swamps that look like meadows in the dry season. This investigation is the unglamorous, tedious work that guarantees your dream. It replaces emotion with facts, and it is the only way to ensure you are buying a foundation for your future, not a prison for your money.
In the end, the fatal mistake that kills the off-grid dream isn't a construction error. It's a purchasing error. It happens months or even years before the first container is delivered, with a decision driven by emotion instead of information. The amateur buys a picture. They fall in love with a patch of dirt with a good view, blind to the invisible prisons that surround it, the missing legal easement that landlocks them, the zoning rule that makes their home illegal, or the useless soil that will never support a well or septic system. They buy a liability, not an asset. The number 1 rule of performing a professional pre-purchase investigation is the antidote to this disaster. It's the tedious, unglamorous work of phone calls, map reading, and contingency clauses that takes a simple plot of land and verifies it as a viable construction site. It replaces a dangerous gamble with methodical certainty. This is the process that ensures the land you buy can actually be reached, can legally be built upon, and can physically support the life you intend to live there. It is the crucial first step that transforms a simple patch of dirt into a true foundation for freedom. If this professional's checklist for a pre-purchase investigation has saved you from buying a land prison, show your support with a like and subscribe for more essential guides from the Builder's Rulebook. For the professional checklists, links to land mapping resources, and the guides we trust for every land purchase, you can find our curated lists by pointing your phone's camera at the QR code on the screen now or by using the link in the description. Now, we want to hear from you. We've tackled the foundation, the waterproofing, and the fatal mistakes in buying the land itself. What is the next critical construction challenge you'd like to see us break down? Let us know in the comments below.